business owners that puts them in front of a global audience. And in behind those shows is a whole range of things, from digital magazines to social media to blogging to email to lead generation, just a whole range of things. Welcome back. I'm your host, Toni Lontis, and this is the Everyday Business Show. Now, each and every week, I talk to amazing people in business who do a whole range of things, and today is no different, except that I have the privilege and pleasure of talking to a friend of mine, someone who works with me closely. Now, before we get on with this show, just a reminder, if you're watching this show live on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter, please say hello, drop us a line. Don't forget to subscribe. We love to hear from you. We love to hear what you think of our content. And a reminder too, that anything that we talk about today will appear in the show notes attached to this show wherever you're watching it across the planet. Each week, we do an important component of our show, and it's called a Welcome to Country. And the importance of that is about recognizing the first people of Australia. And it goes like this. Today, I want to welcome the people of the Yugambeh language region area on the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia. And I want to pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and emerging. These people are the traditional owners of the land on which we speak, meet, and broadcast. And for all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders listening and watching today, welcome to the show. Now, before I introduce our guest in person, here's what you need to know about Sally Curtis. And we will be talking about repurposing your content and what that looks like from our expert guest today. Now, Sally Curtis is a content repurposing whiz. She's an out-of-the-box thinker who loves amplifying others. And I can vouch for all this because Sally and I have been working together for a number of years. And she works with brilliant individuals, companies, and businesses to leverage their content to engage and entice the audience through the power of visuals. Sally is best known for turning books into 2 years of social media posts. That's right, folks, 2 years of social media posts. Her content repurposing and agency works with change makers across the globe and publishing or media houses to maximize the visibility of their clients' wisdoms and insights. Sally's recently been voted top 50 Australian female podcasters. She is president of the Professional Speakers South Australia, a media host and content partner on Everyday Women's TV network. I get such a thrill when I say that, and a mother of a remarkable 19-year-old son. Sally started her career working with Australia's most influential business leaders, helping them fill their events nationally and internationally, while exponentially high conversion rates. She went on to do this for herself and then mentored others. And this led to her discovering the secret of engaging an audience through dynamic visual content and humanly connected conversations. Sally's team create a library of reusable, profitable brand assets that amplify her clients and their impact. They become sought after, sold out, and contribute to the lives of others as well as build a lifestyle for themselves. Welcome to the show, Sally.
Thank you so much for having me, Toni. I am so excited to be sharing with you and be part of your broadcast today. So thank you very, very much.
I must admit, audience, I have been waiting to talk to Sally in this format and share her wisdom and knowledge with you because she is not only a friend, but she is a wonderful human being. And I thought that we'd start the show today with one of Sally's favorite motivational quotes, and it's one of her own. And it goes like this: successful brands are a product of trust. And trust is a product of consistency. And consistency is the most powerful differentiator in the marketplace because most people aren't consistent. Sally, it's a wonderful quote. Tell us a bit about it.
Love to. So it's a Sally Nag, and it is actually quotes from other people that I've actually pulled together and sort of ended up bringing them all together, which is exactly what I do in life anyway, bring little bits together to make something more impactful. It's always meant a lot to me, and it's only been recently that I've realised that the trigger in there is that whole consistency. And for me, it's a demonstration that if we actually just do a few simple things consistently, we can make a massive impact. And I think there's a lot to learn from some of those successful brands, like Coke, like Oprah, like Richard Branson. You know, they've all do something consistently, and it is relatively simple. We just actually overcomplicate things. So doing simple things consistently is where the magic is.
Yeah.
That's it.
And thanks, Sally. When we're talking about content, that is content not just on social media, because often people think of content and they think social media. It's not just about social media, is it?
No, it's consistency across whichever platforms you deliver your impacts to your audience. So that can be books, it can be your training, it can be when you're interviewed on podcasts, etc. And yes, of course, it can be your social media content. But it's about finding a rhythm that is right for you and a rhythm that is right to serve your audience. So I'm not a fan necessarily of, you know, posting on social media every day. When you know your audience intimately enough and you know when they're on and when you need to serve them best, you can be on social media just once a week or a couple of times a week.
I know, Sally, that I fell into that trap. Let's call it a trap of thinking I had to do posting every single day across every single platform that there is. That's not true, is it?
No, absolutely not. From my experience, we've just been testing that in with our social medias, and we've done that for 3 months straight. Really, sort of done that hard and gone and just worked out this week that for us it's Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but I've got clients that it's Sundays at 3 o'clock for their audience.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the thing, when you slow down enough to take the time to understand your audience intimately, when they're, you know, going to the watering hole, so to speak, they're looking to get some bite-sized inspiration from you, then you just need to show up there, and you can actually simplify your life by understanding that and then understanding what they're looking for and creating that content in advance. So you've got a consistent.
And then scheduling it for that time and day, and it goes out automatically. It kind of takes all that stress and anxiety from that perpetual need to be doing something or posting something. Yeah.
Correct. And the opportunity that brings is that when you are in an inspired state and you've got something extra to share, you've actually had the space, time and breath to be able to actually then add something in that moment that's going to be relevant and really meaningful people. So you've got the scheduling to, you know, reduce the stress, and it also creates that inspiration, which is again where really the audience is, you know, become really attracted to that. So it really gives you time and space to breathe.
Yeah. Sally, I wanted to talk to the audience today about the evolution of your business, because like in the beginning, you were kind of in the speaking and event space. So can you talk the audience through the evolution of your business and some of those points that turned your business into what it is today?
Yeah, very much so. So just as I suppose a bit of a backstory, I've always been had an entrepreneurial streak, but I've been employed for a lot of my life as well. So I've always had a side hustle from when I was 12, you know, all sorts of different things. That entrepreneurial streak meant that I was very rebellious, don't like necessarily following rules, and like a lot of freedom and creativity. So with those side hustles, I've done lots of different things. I've had online businesses, I've built franchises, etc. But from a business perspective, where I ended up, because of my employment experience, which was always business development and sales and understanding how to utilize your network as it relates to growing somebody else's business and, creating sales. And I was in lots of different industries across that sales perspective. I found that I had a knack for obviously business development, talking to people, utilizing networks, creating joint ventures, building other people's businesses with lists and bringing in clients. And I found personal development and fell in love with, being a lifelong learner, etc. So whilst being an individual participant in an event, I then became a person that was at the back of the room helping events. Yeah. And got asked, you're doing so well bringing all your friends along, because I was obviously sharing the message. Could you do this for us for real? And I went, oh, yeah, I could do that. So became a freelance business development. What I termed myself as, which is the easiest way, is I was the bums on the wheel. And that's what I ended up doing, is in a freelance manner for many of our leading Australian entrepreneurs and some international there as well. So I was putting bums on seats for them nationally, 500 people in every state, and doing the speaking circuit. So they were the speakers at the front of the stage. What happens when you've done that for a while? All of a sudden you end up on the front of the stage. Not by surprise. Didn't think I'd ever end up there, because I was the kid that did not speak at school, but rather liked it. So I sort of found a new spot. So transitionally became a speaker myself, started creating workshops around how I'd, filled rooms and put bums on seats, and how I'd grown businesses and how I'd created simple systems to do that. So, of course, then started, once you're speaking on those topics, you end up coaching on those topics. So became a coach in that space as well, around filling events, workshops, how to market, how to grow your business development activities. So I'm tarred with the marketing brush and the business development brush. So there's the doing of marketing, and there's the doing of business development. Again, that's a Sally nag. So that's where it sort of came from. And then as I started to work with, I suppose, bigger and more significant speakers, etc., they all were taught to create lots of content, news every week, write a book every year, all the rest. But they weren't repurposing it. So they were constant on this hamster wheel of creating content. I'm just was there for a minute, because one of my mentors about 8 years ago said to me, for God's sake, Sally, you've got enough content for 6 books. And I thought he was mad, because I hate writing. Worked with it's like, you've got to be nuts. But I listened to what he said, and he connected me with some people, and I do create leverage through utilising other people's skills, etc. And we did turn a 45-minute presentation that was video recorded and a little mini training manual that went with that into 2 100-page books. And at the time I went, yahoo, I'm an author now, woohoo. Did not realise I'd repurposed. So when I started to see these clients that were coming to me, and then we were doing different things in their business, but they were stuck on this content creation hamster wheel, being bossy, as you've gathered, got a bossy tone to the personality. I went, oh, for God's sakes, give me a book. And I started pulling all of their gold nuggets out of it. Now, that is very easy for me to do when it's somebody else's inner genius. A little bit more tricky when we're trying to do it for ourselves, because we don't. Yep. We don't read our own labels sitting inside our jar, but it was really easy and effortless for me. So I was just give it to me. And I was just creating some graphic visuals, etc., which is what I used to do for the clients before, when I was filling events, was pulling bits apart, demonstrating their inner genius. And I kept getting asked. Somebody else had come along and asked, and I went, oh my God, this is a thing. So my business journey has been incredibly serendipitous. I have been led by the demand in the marketplace, answered the calling to a yes, sometimes thought it was totally crazy, and just continued on with there's a need here, I'm getting asked, let's just go down that aisle, so to speak. And that's effectively where I've got the sort of coaching practice and that side of things, and now we've got the agency, which has probably really taken over everything, because it's
was going to say, said agency, I think, is taking over everything, isn't it?
So, and I love it because I'm a lifelong learner and being able to share other people's wisdom and be able to reflect it back to them and edify what they may know but not see. And when they see it, that creates another level of confidence. So it's another version of that aha moment, or that you see in your audience faces. It's just another version of that. So it's a total buzz for me.
Yeah. So when we talk about your products and services, one of those is called the book Amplifier. Can you tell us about that, and who uses it and why it's great for business?
Yeah, absolutely. So most people are either in the process of writing a book or have a book. And generally that book is designed to help grow their businesses. Lots of thought leaders, content creators, speakers, experts, regardless of what industry, are often encouraged to write a book. And I'm going to say it may not be a book in the traditional sense. It could be a white paper. It could be
an ebook.
an ebook. We've done plenty of ebooks. Just some way where they
Articles.
groups of articles on it. You know, there'll be a topic theme or an overarching word, and then some topic themes within it. So that to me is the backbone of a book or of a content chunk. And a book maximizer, what we say to our clients is just throw it at us, just inundate us with those elements, whether it's the book or the 15 blog posts and whatnot. And then we will take that and we will go through the extraction process. So we'll extract all of their inner genius, teachable moments, stories, quotes, tips, questions, etc. And then we will turn those into what we refer to as visual campaigns. So we extract their wisdom. We then turn it into content. We then turn it into visual campaigns. We'll then schedule it across social media if they need us to schedule. Otherwise, we'll help support them. So effectively, all they need to do is give us a whole lot of stuff and then deepen the relationships that we help them build on across their social media platforms. What it does is it helps to increase their visibility. It's that consistency element. So they become that trusted brand. They're there when their audience needs them. And most importantly, there's a lot of educational elements there, which is what the audience is often looking for. They want that, that little tidbit that gives them forward movement.
Yeah.
The expert needing to be holding their hand the entire time.
Sally, you brand that specific to the individual company brand, business, book, etc., so that it looks like their content as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about building recognizable brands. So if they've got those brand assets and they've got some recognizability in the marketplace, then everything we do is leverage. So we need to leverage that brand. We need to leverage the consistency of the style, the feel, the colors, which is why our work is so different when we share examples and stuff. It's just completely different because we're creating an extension of the personality and the persona and the energy of the person we're working with.
And effectively, you're saving them time and energy by doing that portion of the work for them. And we often talk about this in business, about the outsourcing capacity. So if there's something in your business that you feel that you need to do, but you've got no idea about doing it, you don't like doing it, then there's wonderful companies like Sally's that will do that work for you and do it at such a high standard. No one will know that it's not done by you. Do you know what I mean? Like Sally's team grabs the essence of you and your brand and recreates that in their repurposed content.
Absolutely. I think the important thing here is because many of my clients have had the similar experience that I've had, is that we hire a virtual assistant and we want that brain transplant. I just want content done, and we want the transplant. And often for me, I didn't want to slow down to actually teach somebody. And if you can't do it, you can't teach it. So a lot of the work that we also do when it comes to that sort of combination of doing the done for you elements as well as the coaching elements is we actually don't necessarily coach the expert. We actually coach their support team so that they can continue on where we've started from them. They can repurpose our repurposing, if that makes sense, and continue, etc. So. Yeah.
So there's a lot of services that you provide for businesses around that whole issue, let's call it an issue of content creation. You
Yes.
just like to make it easier for people to get on and do what they're passionate about. Yeah.
Let the experts be at the front of the room, creating the change that they were put on this planet to do, and let's provide the supports that enable them to do that more
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah. Sally, just before I ask you the next question, your content repurposing, it goes across graphics, video, and audio, doesn't it?
It does. So definitely all those visual elements. We also do quite a lot of, as we get moving along with a client and we've been with them a long time, we can do the e-newsletters and those sorts of things, or create for them, or help them productize some of those elements that they've got. You know, they might have recordings that could be turned into giveaways or free productization. There's so much.
There is, once you start realizing what you can. So a simple podcast, or being a simple podcast, creates an email, a blog. You can put them into create an ebook from the content of the interview. Then there's video, shorts, audio, graphics, etc., etc. So it's amazing what you can do with one central piece of content. For example, an interview.
Absolutely. Yeah, without doubt. The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Where it comes from is knowing your audience intimately and then working a simple strategy out around that, and then knowing what to utilize. So that's where that sorting and evaluating element becomes very important, because it's very easy to get giddily excited about, oh, we could do this and we could do this and we could do this. But sometimes your audience might not need that. So it's, again, keeping it simple. What does your audience need? What have you got? Sorting it and evaluating it based on your audience needs and your business goals to keep it simple, and then going from there.
Sally, you've got a couple of gifts for the audience today. Can you tell us about those?
So there's two options that you can select from. And one is we've got my ebook, which is called The 3 Easy Steps on How to Turn Your Book, which, as I said, is also relevant for articles and podcasts, etc. The process exactly the same. The 3 easy steps on how to turn your book into 2 years worth of content. And then there is some little training videos about sorting and some of those other steps that we do there. So there's that as a free gift, which can be downloaded as a first one. And the second one, we've just created I suppose a diagnostic tool for content marketing and success.
And I have to say, this is really good, guys. This is a really good gift. Sorry, Sally.
That's all right, thank you. So that's again comes from the Sally Nags and some of those little tips and the tricks that you can do. So it's a diagnostic tool, takes 3 minutes to do, and it'll give you a 16-page personalised report based on how you've actually answered the question and some of the most common things that you can do to help leverage and to grow your business based on some of those tweaks and changes.
Yeah, yeah. Sally, we've talked a lot about business and content creation today. I want to know what you would like your legacy to be.
So I really feel my legacy for me as an individual with the business that we've created and the evolutions of that business that will continue. Yeah. I see myself as the catalyst for sharing wisdom. And that wisdom is, for me, I believe entrepreneurs, experts, etc., that make the change in this world. So if I can share their little tidbits out that enables them to not only reach their audience, but to reach the person that they need to joint venture with because they've just happened to see something or hear something. Again, consistently, people like attracts like. And I believe it will be that catalyst for shared wisdom to create the change that we want to, as entrepreneurs, seek in the world.
Yeah, and there is a huge, big piece around the way that entrepreneurs change the world. And if you look at some of the biggest entrepreneurs, so early in the interview we talked about, mentioned Richard Branson, perfect example of an entrepreneur, and look at the change, impact and legacy he's going to leave the world with.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's change makers like that. And without his ability to be able to broadcast and magnify that message,
correct,
he wouldn't have found the other people and the inspiration or the knowledge he needed to fill that next gap to help him propel himself forward. So that's what we do, is we're that catalyst to keep that information moving forward.
Absolutely. Sally, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I dare say we'll be in a different version. We'll be doing different things as it relates to content. I dare say with all of the new technologies and AI.
It's very exciting. I can't help it. Every time I get another thing about AI, I'm like straight on there going, wow, you can do this. Oh my God, you can do that.
So I expect in 5 years' time, there will still be Sally nags about how you can make it simpler, how you can grow your business, and etc. But it'll probably be a completely different conversation that I have no clue about right now.
I agree. And the pace which that technology is so rapidly advancing, I actually find it really exciting. A lot of people go, but it excites me.
Yeah. So what's next? How can this work?
I know. That's how my brain works. Like, oh, wow, that's exciting. Oh goodness, how could we use that? What could we do with that sort of thing? I I downloaded a little program yesterday because I was looking for something that would take the vision I have in my head and create an image on a screen or a piece of paper. And I found this little AI picture generator, and I'm just like, I can't wait to play with that on the weekend, because you actually have to give yourself a bit of time and space to play with some of these things, because they take a bit of, oh, that doesn't quite look right, or that doesn't sound right, or all of those things. But it's an exciting time, isn't it, Sally?
Yeah, absolutely. That trial and error and tweaking and changing and adapting. And I think for me, yes, there's a lot of people that are frightened by the evolution. Yeah. But I think the learning, if we look at the learning from an adaptation point of view, and that we go, oh, that's not quite right, and that's not quite right, that bit when you say to yourself, that's not quite right, that insight creates a lot more confidence further down the track in your messaging or whatever. So it's actually a really good adaptation and a learning tool for me.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, Sally. I couldn't agree more. Now, finally, my last question is, how can people connect with you and chat to you and find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So probably the easiest way is I'm definitely across all of the social media platforms. LinkedIn is the place I tend to play the most.
Yeah.
One easy link for everything all in one spot is to
down below.
Go to Linktree. So it's Linktree Sally A. Curtis. That will give you a chronological list of all of the things we offer, starting with the freebies. About before, the services that we provide, links and all those sorts of things. So if you're a cyber stalker like me and like to check people out,
it's a wonderful way to get to know a person is to go onto their socials, follow their links, and just check them out. It doesn't cost anything to check out what Sally is talking about and see what a wonderful businesswoman she is and what a wonderful job she does at supporting other businesses and entrepreneurs. Sally, I've loved chatting to you today. I am truly grateful that you are in and around my space, and I look forward to seeing what you create next.
Thank you so much, Toni. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I'm excited with an even higher level of energy to go into my day. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so, so much.
And that, my audience, is your lot for this week. We must thank Sally Curtis for spending her time with us on the Everyday Business Show today. There are nuggets and nuggets of gold in this conversation. So don't forget, if you're watching live, you can always rewatch by jumping onto the Everyday Women's Network or YouTube. And of course, there's links across all our socials, and there will be links attached to this interview wherever you may be watching that. Sally Curtis, thank you so much. And that, my audience, is your lot for this week. Bye for now. Of shows with business owners that puts them in front of a global audience. And in behind those shows is a whole range of things, from digital magazines to social media to blogging to email to lead generation, just a whole range of things.